You guys like my shirt? My bestie bought me a shirt because I love Outkast to death. And then the back has, I'm very pleased with this t-shirt. Peace, Snapstars. Firstly, I want to just thank everybody who showed me so much love this far. I really appreciate it. I didn't expect it. But, you know, I'm very grateful and I'm thankful that people are not only just watching it just because you know me, but actually watching it and enjoying it. And, yeah, it just makes my heart fuzzy. And I just want to say thank you. So let me first start off by saying that I recorded this video yesterday. I was recording for a whole hour and I looked back at the footage and I hated it. I was having a little anxiety issue yesterday, so it was all over my face. You could see it, you could hear it. I just needed a little minute to kind of decompress. So this week we are experiencing Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter all going into retrograde in the same week. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about each planet, what their retrogrades are going to mean for us, how we are going to experience the energy. Alright, so what is retrograde? So retrograde is a period of time where a planet appears to be moving backwards from Earth's perspective. If we're looking at the planet through a telescope, the planet would be in the way that it's moving, in the direction that it's moving with association to us. The planet appears to be moving backwards. And when it appears to move backwards, it's not actually moving backwards, it just looks like that. It definitely affects the energy that we receive from the planet at the time, basically. So I'm going to go down the list of the planets and I am going to explain what each planet represents and how their retrogrades will affect you. We'll start with Saturn. Saturn went retrograde on May 11th and it will be retrograding all the way until September 29th. It is the karmic planet, so it represents karma. It represents discipline. Where Saturn is placed, it teaches you lessons. So typically, a lot of people tend to have a hard time with the area in which Saturn is placed in their life. Typically up until your 29th birthday. Saturn is the disciplinarian. So Saturn is the one that wants you to kind of pay attention, take your lessons from your experience. So during retrograde, you will be given some tests on your discipline. And if you do not do the necessary work, then you're going to fail the test. And then it's really going to be a difficult time for you. It is the karmic planet, so typically what goes in comes out. You reap what you sow with Saturn. Saturn is what rewards you and punishes you. So when it goes retrograde, what we may experience. You may experience themes coming up in your life that associate to problems you may have had in the past or times where you may have done someone wrong. For example, if you had an ex who you were the toxic one in the relationship, that ex may come back in your life, or you may bump into the ex. I mean, it's kind of hard to bump into your ex right now because we're in quarantine, but what you want to do with that energy, you want to take the time to sit with it, sit with those mistakes that you've made, and sit with those experiences you had and rectify it. If it's something that you can rectify with the person, if you did someone wrong, you should apologize during this time. Take responsibility. Hold yourself accountable for the things that you've done. Step out of your ego. Now is the time to put the egos aside. Now is when you're kind of reaping what you sow, right? So any wrongs that you've been doing when Saturn was direct, you're going to get the punishment for it during these times. If you've done the work that you're supposed to do, you will be rewarded for it. The most important is to protect your mental health. Center yourself. Center yourself. Center yourself. Saturn wants you to take your time. Saturn wants you to Pay attention. Be mindful. The main way to be mindful and to take your time is meditation. Do a 10-minute meditation. Commit to doing a meditation every 3 days. And definitely journaling. Get those thoughts on paper. Healing happens when you put it on paper. Just prioritizing like relaxation. Prioritize relaxation, because now is not a time to be active. Like, now is not a time to make moves. During retrograde is not a time to make moves. Retrograde is a period to slow us down and to keep us, you know, get us to reassess what's going on. And then, so that way when the planet goes direct, we can use the energy correctly. So moving on, we're going to move to Venus next. Venus is my planet. Venus rules my birth chart. So Venus goes retrogrades on May 13th and it goes direct again on June 25th. Venus is the planet of beauty. She is the planet of love and romance and sensuality, sexuality. No, not necessarily sexuality, attraction. And she's a planet of leisure, relaxation, money, like physical money, and possessions, so like things that we own. You are gonna feel, I'm just telling you right now, you're gonna have a lot of arguments if you do not use this the right way. It's very easy for us to let our tongues get super snappy during Venus retrograde. Because she is retrograding during the time of Gemini, now is a good time if you're in a relationship to focus on speaking. You and your partner should be having regular conversations. It doesn't have to be deep conversations, but if you want to get deep, that's always encouraged. How was your day? Discuss things that you don't typically discuss. So what happened today? How did that make you feel? Encourage each other to talk your feelings out. So that way you can kind of learn your partner on a deeper level. Those of you who are in relationships that are not super solid, you may be rethinking like, if this relationship is the relationship that I want to be in. You may feel like you want to change your look today. Or you might want to just, I feel like I want to dye my hair red. I don't encourage you to dye your hair red. Don't do it. Write it down on paper. See how you feel when Venus goes direct after the shadow phase. And if you still feel like that, then do it. You may want to resolve trauma. I say go for it. Definitely journal through it. Definitely speak to someone. Definitely work through that trauma. It's kind of... Oh, that was creepy. Hey single people. Right now we're quarantined. We can't do shit. Lord only knows when outside is gonna open up again. But if you're like me, a lot of us are doing some online dating. It's fine to do that. Talk, have conversations with people. Figure out what you like from what you don't like, what you want from what you don't want. And if you make connections with people, that's great. Do not romanticize the situation. Do not start planning your future with somebody until after this retrograde. You're going to feel like you want to kind of like move forward, especially those of us who are a little bit impulsive. I just say take your time. Take time to get to know yourself. Self-love. Do a lot of self-pampering. Figure out the things that you like from what you don't like. Figure out what you want from what you don't want. Start to reap the benefits of all of this work that you're doing once Mercury goes direct. Mercury. Once Venus goes direct. Ain't nobody talking about you, Mercury, please. Our last retrograde that we're discussing is Jupiter. Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th, which is this Thursday. And it goes direct September 12th. Jupiter is a very easeful retrograde period. Jupiter is like one of my favorite planets. I love Jupiter. I have like this... Even before I got into astrology, let me just give y'all a little story. So before I got into like astrology and everything like that, I used to watch space documentaries. It's like a mad woman. Like I would go to sleep with the documentary playing on the TV. That's how fascinated I was. I just have this fascination with planetary things, planetary events, the universe, just in general. Jupiter has always been the planet that I'm like, wow. If I had to choose one planet to go on and I'll be safe, I won't die or anything, but I'll just get to see what goes on in there, it would be Jupiter. Jupiter is the happy planet. Jupiter is the planet that is best known for like luck and optimism, winnings, not lessons, but more like wisdom and understanding. Jupiter is the giver. It's the merciful planet. Jupiter wants to give to everybody. Sense of humor, goodwill, all of that is Jupiter's. Jupiter also can represent overindulgence, doing a bit too much because he's so merciful. It also represents how we express our generosity, like how we give. You will either have periods of weakening faith if you do not use the energy correctly, or strengthening your faith. So areas that in your life that you may have known needed work and you needed to grow from, maybe accentuated right now. Now would be the time where you would make decisions on what you want to do. So you would question like your personal security, you question your job, you would question like your business moves. I didn't say act on it. I don't recommend you act on it, but I will say now is the time. Kind of hold a magnifying glass up to those areas and see where there needs to be changes. Jupiter is a very giving planet. He's not blindly giving. He will give you some tests during this time to make sure that whatever abundance you do seek, you're ready for it. So I heavily suggest right now is a good time to do abundance work. I'm a part of a 21-day meditation group, and it's solely based on abundance. You're not only requesting, you're not only putting the energy out that you want something, you are healing the relationship you have with that thing so that when it comes, you can appreciate it. I didn't say it. The stars did. The planets did. The universe did. I didn't say it. Financial opportunities may arise during this time. I don't want to say to turn it down, right? But I do want to say move like you are doing brain surgery. Take your sweetest time. Analyze every single area. If it's something that you can wait to do, please do that. If it's something you can't wait to do, I just ask that you take your time, view all aspects of the situation, do what you gotta do, but don't rush into any financial decisions because you're gonna have issues where that's concerned. I'm not gonna say it's gonna fall through, but you're gonna have issues. Yeah, I think right now is I'm not gonna say it's not gonna be hard because it's gonna be a struggle, but I just think knowing these things and associating it with healing, when certain issues arise during these times, you can kind of better handle it. You can receive it, you can understand it. That's pretty much it for the retrograde. Not for nothing, Saturn has affected me more than Mercury ever has. Mercury retrograde has never affected me this much. Saturn and Venus, like, alright, I'm gonna go on ahead and get out of here. I hope my eyebrows were not like this the whole time, because that's in the other video. I was doing the video like, yeah, and Saturn, when Saturn goes retrograde, this is like, girl, you better ease up your face. Anywho,
the way the fucking boy abuse me. He got a big dick and know how to use it. You know why? That's what you say.
Sis, come here. I'm gonna come closer to you because you can't come closer to me. Sis, let's chat. Let's focus right here. Let's focus. Sis, if that nigga texts you, do not answer. Don't answer. Alright?